All right, good evening, everybody. Commissioner H Coach 704 PEL Primetime Elite League. We are looking at the playoffs and seeing who's in, who's out, where you're going to be, what games are important. Um, there's only been one game played, and that was mine. So it's a good time to do this and see what everyone else needs to do. I know Tampa Bay is up 24-0 on the Eagles right now, so that's pretty much done on their fate, and we'll take that into consideration. But you see right here on the screen, we got the NFL standings up. Most of these teams on the screen will have byes, probably in the first round. But let's jump into it. Let's start with the AFC. And as you can see, it's pretty strong at the top, of course. The Ravens at 14-1, the Texans 13-2 are your top two seeds right now, and I think that's pretty much locked in, but we'll break it down here in a minute. And then the third seed, Dolphins at 11-4, fourth seed Chargers at 10-5, and then your wild cards at the moment are the Browns at 11-4 and the Colts at 11-4. Bengals 10-5, Jags 9-6, Broncos 9-6, Titans 9-6, Jets 9-6 are all out right now. Some very strong records. Not making the playoffs, most likely in the AFC. But there's still a chance, but they need some help. So let's take a look at it here. All right, in the North, you got, of course, like we said, the Ravens are 14-1. They got a bye pretty much locked up. Their one loss was an AFC loss, but I don't think it's going to matter. To be honest with you. Browns 11-4, Bengals 10-5, both have wild card aspirations. Looking at their conference records, 8-4 for the Browns, 6-5 for the Bengals. That's what's going to hurt the Bengals a lot in a tiebreaker scenario, which is what they would hope for. Browns in a pretty good spot right now. Right now, they would be the 5 seed in the playoffs if they started today. AFC South, Texans 13-2, looking at the number 2 seed. Right now in the playoff picture, their conference record is pretty good. Obviously at 9-2, I think that eliminates them from being a target for the number 1 seed. But of course, they still get a bye to number 2, and of course, a home playoff game in the second round. Colts are the 6th seed right now at 11-4. Jags 9-6, Titans 9-6. Are hoping for some help, big time help. I don't think they're going to get enough, though. I don't think 9-6 at this point is going to get you in. But the Colts at 7-4 in the conference have one more conference game. And we'll check and see who all these teams are playing, because we may have some forces thrown in here, and, it may not even matter. And we'll take a look at that here in a second. The AFC East, the Dolphins have wrapped it up at 11-4. Jets at 9-6 still have some very slim wild card hopes, which I don't think are gonna happen. Looking at conference record, 7-4 for the Dolphins. That comes into play between them and the Chargers or someone else out of the AFC West for that 3-4 slot in the wild card first round. And then the Jets at 6-5. I think that's gonna really hurt their chances there. For a tiebreak situation, if it was even possible. AFC West, you got 2 teams in it. The Chargers at 10-5, the Broncos 9-6. You're looking at the conference records here. You got 7-4 for both of these guys. So let's start there. Let's take a look at the schedule and see who these guys have. All right, we're just gonna go to league schedule. All right, so Chargers Ravens. So that's a huge game right there, especially for the Broncos. They're hoping the Ravens defeat the Chargers, and the Ravens still have something to play for because they do want that number 1 overall seed in the AFC. They don't want to get to 14-2 because the Texans have a force right here with the Patriots. So they don't want a tie situation, and then it's left up to Madden. Basically, we can go through all the logic, but then it's left up to Madden. So they have a lot to play for there. And then the Broncos have the Bengals, and that's a huge game for both of those teams. Bengals at 10-5 will need to win to try to keep pace and force a wild card tie in the conference there with a victory over the Broncos. Broncos win, Chargers lost. That makes an AFC West tie top the division. So we have to go to head-to-head between these two teams. So let's take a look. The Broncos lost to the Chargers in week 3, but they beat them in week 5. So we'll get to a lot of interesting little scenarios right there, because that's going to be huge, because whoever loses the division will most likely not make the playoffs. And let's go over that again. So, in the AFC, as a reminder, the 1 seed's the Ravens right now. The Texans are the 2 seed right now. I think both of those teams are locked as far as the top seeds go. Just a matter of if the Ravens defeat the Chargers, they'll be the outright number 1. If they lose to the Chargers, it creates a tie between these two teams. We'll check and see if they've played each other this year, see if there's a head-to-head tiebreaker. If not, then the conference tiebreaker says it would be tied, because that would be an AFC loss for the Ravens. So really interesting to see how that would shake out there. Now, like we said before, the Browns and the Colts are the 2 wild card teams right now. So you see the Chargers at 10-5, the Broncos 9-6. If we get that tied scenario with the Chargers at 10-6, the Broncos 10-6 in the AFC West, one of them would be out of the playoffs, because the Colts and the Browns both have 11 wins already, and they both could win, in their games this week. Dolphins have already clinched the AFC East. They'll be the 3 or the 4 seed, based on what they do in their game. Okay. And then the 4 seed is the AFC West winner, most likely if the Dolphins win. All right. So, all that being said, if you don't have 10 wins, you're out of it in the AFC. So the Bengals have big wild card hopes, but they are hoping for a Browns or Colts loss. And then they are hoping that they can win a tiebreaker as far as the conference goes, because it's 8-4 for the Browns, and then 7-4 for the Colts, and then the Bengals at 6-5. So they're really hoping for a Colts loss. If they can force a tie with the Colts for this last wild card spot, then it comes down to Madden. But that's a chance right there. Jags, Titans, Jets are out of it. They're out of playoff contention in the AFC. They can only get to 10 wins. The 2 current wild card teams both have 11 wins. They're out. All right. So Bengals and higher are all still having playoff shots right here. So that's 7 teams. So one of those teams, one of those teams will be out, and then the Broncos still have a shot for the AFC West title, but they need a Chargers loss. Now, go back to schedules. Other big games this week. What are we looking at? All right. AFC teams only. Colts-Titans is a huge game, especially for the Bengals. They want the Titans to win that game. They need the Colts to get to 11-5. And then the Bengals need to defeat the Broncos to get to 11-5 and force that tiebreaker we're talking about in that second wild card spot. Jets-Dolphins. Jets can be a huge spoiler right here. They can knock the Dolphins down to a 4 seed, theoretically, if they defeat them on the road. And then if the Chargers defeat the Ravens, that would put the Chargers at 11-5, and that would put the Dolphins at 11-5, and then we go to conference record for a tiebreaker if they haven't played head-to-head. Other big AFC games, I think, Vikings-Browns, that is a huge game for both of those teams. We'll get to the Vikings when we get to the NFC, but for the Browns, obviously they want to win that game. Their conference record, I think, is going to save them. I think they'll be in the playoffs because they have an 8-4 conference record. But they don't want to leave it to chance there. They want to win that game, get to 12-4, and they'll be solid at the first wild card spot with the win. But if they lose, they drop to 11-5, and it may knock them down a peg to that 6th wild card spot based on if the Colts defeat the Titans. So if the Colts win, they're in. If the Browns win, we know they're in. They're probably in already, but a win would really secure it. But the Colts are really big. They're in that 2nd wild card spot right now, and then the Bengals are hoping they lose. So the Bengals are sitting out right now. The Broncos are sitting out right now, but they can win and then hope for a Chargers loss to get in. So a lot of interesting scenarios going on in the AFC right now. A lot of good stuff. Now, let's jump to the NFC, where it's not as convoluted at all. Trust me. Okay. In the NFC, right now we have the Rams at the 1 seed, Redskins at the 2 seed, and the 3 seed. I won my game today over the Cowboys. I'll go through that in a little bit. And then you got the Packers there at 10-5. They have yet to play this week. And then Madden has already deemed the Vikings and Bucks in. So, hey, there you go. They're your playoff teams right there in the NFC. Easy peasy, right? No scenarios done. It's just a matter of seeding now. Rams, Redskins, 1-2 seeds. Who can be the 1? Who can be the 2? Looking at NFC wins and losses, Rams are 11-0, Redskins 10-1. I think the Rams get a force this week. So they would be the 1 seed. The Redskins would be the 2 seed. We'll verify with the schedule here in a minute. 3 and 4 seeds between the Packers and the Panthers. Panthers 9-3. Panthers 9-3. Packers 9-2. So if the Packers win, they will be the 3 seed by virtue of the NFC conference record win. Being 10-2, and then the Panthers being 9-3. Now, if they lose, they're both 9-3 in the NFC. So then it's just a matter of, we didn't play head to head, so it's just up to Madden at that point. Any other relevant tiebreakers Madden doesn't really look at. The Bucks will be the 5 seed. I think they'll be 10-6. They were up big on the Eagles earlier when I checked in. And then the Vikings will be the 6 seed. So, you got a couple potential rematches in the first round. You could have Panthers-Bucks. Of course, we played in the NFC South all year. And you could have Packers-Vikings, and they split, on the season. Or you could have, Panthers-Vikings and Bucks-Packers. So, any kind of those combinations could happen in the first round. But the Packers will have a home playoff game in the first round. Panthers have a home playoff game in the first round. That's what it comes down to. All right, so we'll see what happens and what shakes out on that. So, of course, in the NFC, these games are not as important because all the seeding has been done. We know who's in, but we will see what's important as far as, those other seeding matchups go. So the 49ers are playing the Packers. Of course, the Packers will be favored in that game. If they win, they'll get the 3 seed. And that'll put the Panthers at a 4. And then the Panthers get the 4 seed. They'll play the Bucks first round. Packers will play the Vikings in the first round if they win that game. If they lose, who knows? It'll be up to Madden. Rams at the 4 over the Lions guarantees them the 1 seed. So the Redskins will be the 2 seed no matter what. And both of those teams will have a bye in the first round of the NFC playoffs. And then the other big game, like we talked about, Vikings-Browns. Vikings are in, but theoretically, if the Bucks lose and the Vikings win, they can move up to the 5 seed, and the Bucks will go down to the 6. But like I said, Bucks are up big over the Eagles, unless the Eagles have made a big comeback. I think the Vikings are locked in as the 6, and the Bucks are locked in as the 5. And that's all the important matchups in the NFC. Like I said, all the teams have been set. So, while I'm on this, let me wait to see if that Eagles-Bucks game will finish up, before I do a recap, so I can recap both games at once. Awards. Let's take a look and see where we are with that, because we are close to the end. Nathan Blue, league MVP right now. And you see the other candidates on the screen. Coach of the Year is CDM, that's Hydrotic with the Ravens. Best record in the league, highly deserving of that award. Has been good all year long. AFC, offensive player Nathan Blue, defensive player Javion Clowney, rookie Anthony Schwartz, defensive rookie DeMarcus Daniel. Baker Mayfield, best quarterback, no surprise there. Blue, best running back. Schwartz, best wide receiver. Best OL, Nelson. Ngakwe for the Jags, best DL. Clowney, best linebacker. Jesse Bates, good for him, best DB award. And Austin Seibert, the best kicker in the AFC for the Chargers. In the NFC, we have Tevin Coleman. I hope that holds up because he's been getting a lot of sim stats. I don't want that. Zach Morris, defensive player for the Redskins, a good season. Montana, offensive rookie, and I knew Dobbins wasn't going to keep up. I hadn't been feeding him at all. Deontay Spencer, defensive rookie, sim stats, I hate that. Rufus Jackson, best quarterback, and he's been getting some good sim stats, and I had been playing with Carr, so I figured that would happen. Coleman, best running back. Paul Richardson, best wide receiver, has been having a real good season. Lamingo Hakili, best offensive lineman. Malik Pellerin had a really big season, best D lineman for the Redskins. Zach Morris, best linebacker. Best DB, Jamal Agnew. Those sim stats are helping, I tell you. And, hey, Graham Gano, best kicker for the Panthers. We got one. All right. All right, let's take a look at some team stats. See where everybody is on the season here. Best total offense, Dolphins, Bengals, Vikings, Colts, Ravens. Passing offense, Browns, Dolphins, Vikings, Saints, Bengals. Best run offense, Ravens, Packers, Texans, Colts, Buccaneers. Points per game, Browns, Ravens, Texans, Colts, Redskins. Good job. Best defenses. Oops, I won't do that. Alright, Vikings, Rams, Raiders, Texans, Jaguars. Best pass defense. Raiders, Vikings, Seahawks, Jags, Rams. Best run defense. Browns, Panthers, Colts, Rams, Chargers. Points allowed. Rams, Texans, Packers, Redskins, Browns. Most sacks, Redskins, Jaguars, Broncos, Texans, Vikings. Hit stick, Kings, Jags, Packers, Jets, Texans, Browns. Interception leaders, Rams, Bengals, Panthers, Chargers, Broncos. Good job, guys. Third down percentage, best in the league. Hey, number one, Panthers, Dolphins, Redskins, Texans, Browns. I did not expect myself to be that high. Seems like we struggled on third down all year long, but I guess we got better. Scoring points in the red zone. You want a high percentage on this? You got the Titans, Falcons, Ravens, Rams, Texans. Good job. Defensive percentage. You want a low percentage, stopping people. Chiefs, Rams, Texans, Eagles, Lions. Good job. Lions? I swear. We're going to change that next year. Least penalized teams, the Rams, Jets, Seahawks, Dolphins, Panthers. Got to have disciplined players if you don't want them making penalties. Turnover difference. Talk about it all the time. Rams, Bengals, Texans, Panthers, Titans, Colts. Good job. All those teams are in playoff contention. Well, except for the Titans, but we don't hold that against him. We know he's a good player. Good job on that. Let's look at the player stats. League leaders. Well, we know Derek Carr is not leading the league in passing. I rag on him a lot. He's so inconsistent. Alright, passing leaders by yardage. Baker Mayfield, Drew Lock, Derek. Oh, really? Wow, that's because I played. Derek Carr, Willie Beeman, Jared Stidham, Rufus Jackson. Good seasons for all those guys. Most touchdowns thrown. Baker Mayfield, Rufus Jackson, Willie Beeman, Steven Rivers. Is that Phillip Rivers? Is that one of his kids. I mean, I feel like that should be one of his kids, Deontay. You need to let us know. Aaron Rodgers, Carson Wentz, Drew Lock, Jared Stidham, Sam Darnold. All right. And then you want to look at those interception ratios, and this is very good for Baker Mayfield. A lot of these guys at the top, except for Aaron Rodgers, are pretty good. Touchdown to interception ratio, not bad right there, for the most part. Okay. Leading rushers: Nathan Blue, Tevin Coleman, Derrick Henry, Leonard Fournette, Todd Gurley, Kareem Hunt. All over 1,000 yards. Good job, guys. Excellent. Touchdowns: Nathan Blue, Derrick Henry, Ronald Jones II, Nyheim Hines, Ross Lawrence, Tevin Coleman, Todd Gurley. Good job. Top receivers. And though this is by catches, we ain't going to count Gronk. Those are sim stats. Nick Henry, Stephon Diggs, Tony Flash, Paul Richardson Jr., Allen Hurns, Tyrone Motes, Juju, sim stats. Alshon Jeffrey, good job. Now by yardage, the big play guys. There's Paul Richardson, Anthony Schwartz, Tony Flash, Tyreek Hill, Robbie Anderson, Jarvis Landry, Nick Henry, Curtis Samuel, John Ross, Stephon Diggs, N'Keal Harry, Alshon Jeffrey, Kevin McMillan, DeAndre Hopkins, all over 1,000 yards receiving. Some of these averages are amazing. 29.7 yards a catch. Look at that. 27.5 for Samuel. 27.3 for Kevontae Turpin. I remember him from last year. 27 for Robbie Anderson. 25.8 for Paul Richardson. Steep crossing routes. I know it. And then on down the line. But those averages are incredible. That's a good job, guys. And then touchdowns. Anthony Schwartz with 16. John Ross 15. Robbie Anderson 13. Paul Richardson 13. Tony Flash 13. Good work. And then defensively, sim stats on those tackles. So we'll start with sacks. Clowney, wow, 24.5. Pellerin 23. Winovich 20. Ngakoue 19.5. Jennings 16. Deron Payne 15. I know the Redskins are on aggressive a lot. Good Lord. Nick Bosa 14.5. Ogba 14.5. Hakeem Fisher 13.5. Zach Morris 13. Sheldon Richardson 13. Good job. And then interceptions. Jesse Bates with 11. Excellent. Quincy Wilson with 9. TJ Green with 9. William Jackson 9. LaMarcus Joyner with 9. Jamal Agnew with 9. Marcus Daniel 8. And Rico Gafford 8. Dylan Cole 8. And Greedy Williams with 8. All right. Excellent work there. Excellent work. All right. And we don't need to see any of those. All right, we'll move on. And let's go over the two games that have been played because I've seen the other one is done now. Okay. All right, Bucks defeat the Eagles 31-9, so that does lock the Bucks in at the 5, and that puts the Vikings at the 6 seed. Okay. As you can see, Bucks got out to a big lead in the first half, and then second half was pretty much evenly played, but 4 turnovers by the Eagles really hurt them apparently in this game. Let's look at the stats. Montana didn't have to throw much. 3 for 6 for 98 yards and a touchdown. Okay. McMillan did throw for 311, but 3 interceptions did hurt him. Fournette 15 to 113 and a touch, and then Snell got 53, so a big running day for the Buccaneers in this one. Alshon Jeffrey 5 for 109, McMillan 3 for 105 and a touchdown. He's going to be a really good receiver, superstar development. And then defensively standing out, they have several sacks here for the Bucks. Look, they got 5 sacks on the day, led by Christian Wilkins with 2. And then Anthony Averett, 93 yards. That must be a touchdown. Yep, 2 defensive touchdowns. Alvin Mack with an interception also. All right. So, well, no wonder the Bucks only threw it 6 times. Defense outscored Philly in that game. That's a good day right there. And then the Panthers over the Cowboys 35-10. This was a tale of two halves. We were sleepwalking in the first half, and then you can see I cussed their ass out at halftime, and they came out and played like they're capable of. Anyway. The Cowboys are 4 turnovers. They did have 3 interceptions and then a fumble. And most of that came in the second half. We did really well. I was really happy with the red zone. 4 touchdowns in the red zone. We didn't get 100% because I threw an interception, stupid read on a play. That was all my fault. I can't blame Derek Carr for that one. Derek Carr, pretty efficient. 12 of 14, 149, touchdown and an interception I just mentioned. Prescott threw for 233, but did throw those 3 interceptions. 15 of 25 on the day. Running the ball, McCaffrey, like I said in the chat, did really well. 6 for 61 in a touchdown. Lawrence, this was the first time Lawrence has really been bottled up. 12 for 25, but he did get 2 touchdowns. Ezekiel Elliott, 11 of 37. Didn't really do too much on the day. Receiving was pretty balanced across the board for everybody. Conley was this was his return game against us. We traded him to the Cowboys for a first-round pick earlier this season, and he did 4 for 74, but he never really, did too much against us. It was pretty spread out across the board. Diggs did get the 1 touchdown there, but pretty even receiving-wise. And then defensively, Hakeem Fisher was all over the place. I know he was good, but yeah, he's developed now into a monster. And then Dupree got a sack, Lewis got a sack, McCourty got a sack, and then Vander Esch was able to get 1 as well. And Luke Kuechly had 2 interceptions. Seymour had a pick 6, and then Jalen Smith had that interception down in the red zone for the Cowboys. So those are the 2 games that have been played. We do have an opening in the Patriots. The Redskins said he has someone that may come and join the league and take the Patriots. If you do have someone else, I am looking to replace a couple of inactive people. I don't need to say no names or teams. You know who they are. You see the forces on the screen. Most of those are, yeah. And we're only looking at 2. So, anyway. That's going to be pretty much the end of the show. Remember, when we advance Monday to the playoffs, this 24-hour advance is going forward. Once the Super Bowl is scheduled, I will put out the off-season schedule with the draft day. You guys know if it's during the week, it'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern time. If it's on a weekend, we look at trying to move the time, either up or back, depending on what the situation is. Obviously I want to draft before the Super Bowl, hopefully. So if you are in the playoffs, please schedule those games as fast as you can so we can get, moving and get the draft in before the Super Bowl. And then that way we can have, the Super Bowl kind of be a holiday and no one has to worry about the league or scheduling games or anything like that. And then we can get back into normal, and then we'll get into season 5. And then, as you know, season 5 usually is the last real good season for most CFMs because football is over. Although I'm hoping this year it'll be a little different because you do have the AAF coming up. That's the American Football Alliance or something like that. So football will still be going on. And hopefully someone can make a video game based on that. Maybe we'll get some competition from Madden, but don't hold your breath. But we'll see. As always, I haven't really been seeing any issues with gameplay. Thank you for that. Chat's been good. I think everything has been going pretty well. So once again, I appreciate, everything you guys are doing. And oh yeah, Agape has, Agape, I've been saying Agape for years. It's Agape, I'm sorry. Agape has started broadcasting some games here and there, and it's pretty good. So if that's something you want to take on, you can reach out to me. I can send you the video, like I did with him, and you can set it up and broadcast away. Like we said, it's a lot easier for one person to do it. Doing the 2-man stuff, it would take some time, and we would have to practice at it, and number one, getting it set up through technology and everything will take some time. But what I'm going to work on is getting a kind of a layer to go over the broadcast, because I've seen some leagues do that, and I want to try to develop that, and hopefully I'll have some time tomorrow to sit down and do that. So if anyone's interested in that kind of thing, just let me know, and we can work on it together. Otherwise, I haven't really done the Twitter stuff much because I didn't really get much out of it. Even the big leagues that are tweeting a lot, they don't have a ton of followers. I see their followers are at like the 60s or 70s, and then they require all their, people to make, Twitter handles and all that. And I'm not going to do that here, mainly because that's just another thing that you would have to do. So, anyways, when we advance to the playoffs, the end of season rewards, as far as games played, will get calculated. Of course, I wait to do the articles until we reach the re-sign period. That's when I calculate the articles for those rewards. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? At the end of the season, when we reach re-sign period, that's when, if you're in a league role, such as the predictor like Ben is, or something along those lines, that's when those awards get dealt out. So just keep all that in mind. So, and once again, if you have any ideas, feel free to let me know. Guys, I'm open-minded to a lot of different things. I studied, what other leagues do. I try to take the things that I like from them and stay away from the things I don't, like trade committees. But anyway, all right, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll be in the playoffs on Monday. Good luck, everyone.